Hey friends! So have you been thinking about quitting your job to run your handmade or crochet business? Well, today I'll be talking about mistakes you want to avoid before you hand in that resignation letter. So stay tuned! Hello friends, my name is Karen Viloria-Miguel, owner and founder of Canada Bliss luxury crochet hats and accessories. And today I'll be covering 5 mistakes that you definitely don't want to make if you're thinking about handing in your resignation letter and quitting your job to run your handmade business. The reason I'm putting this video together is because I really want to make sure that if you decide to make handmade business your primary source of income and your occupation, you want to be prepared as possible so that you have the most enjoyable handmade business that you can make. As a handmade strategist, I've had the honor and the pleasure of helping numerous handmakers, business owners, knitters, crocheters, artisans, and entrepreneurs build businesses that they love. And today's video is for you if you're thinking about making that big leap into entrepreneurship. So let's dive right in. Now, the first mistake is not organizing your finances before you leave your job. If money and finances cause you any kind of stress before you leave your job, it actually gets a lot harder once you become an entrepreneur because your income will rely solely on making sales consistently. Once you're a handmade entrepreneur, you're going to find that there's an ebb and flow when it comes to sales. And the truth is, income does come in spurts. So it can be a little bit slower in the summer, and sometimes it's like booming in the fall and winter. So if you're not great for budgeting for these ebbs and flows and ups and downs, you may want to get better at making sure that you can budget for these dips and peaks. What I did was I tried estimating how much it was that I was going to make, and I worked both my job and ran my business at the same time. Then I tried to live off of that estimated income while I was still working so that I would know if I could really handle the idea of supporting myself once I became an entrepreneur and took the leap from leaving my corporate job. And another thing that you could do is if you live on a reduced income, then you could also set the money aside while you're working both your job and your handmade business so that you'll have a little bit of a buffer once you do decide to make the big leap. Also, you want to map out your monthly budget. Know exactly how much it costs for your food, your heating, your car, your insurance, your taxes, so you know what your revenue goals are going to be when you do start making income strictly from your handmade business. So for example, say your goal is to make $3,000 a month, because that's roughly what you make right now. Actually, you may not need to make the full $3,000 because maybe if you decide to be an entrepreneur from home, maybe you don't need a car, so you won't need car insurance, and your true goal should be $2,500. Now, if, for example, your items net about $50 per item, then you'll know that you need to average about 50 sales per month so that over the course of 12 months, your revenue will cover all of your old income. The second mistake that you don't want to make is not knowing what your new lifestyle will be like as a full-on entrepreneur, and not knowing what your day-to-day will be like, and if you like those aspects of being a 100% handmaker entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship can be very isolating. You have to keep in mind if you like working by yourself. Being isolated might be actually worse for you than if you were to quit your corporate job and leave it behind to work by yourself, or not knowing why exactly you are leaving your current position, because you don't know if those things that you don't like about your current position aren't maybe the same things that exist in running your own business. Then if you leave your job to become an entrepreneur, you're really not shifting out of the aspects of your occupation that you didn't like. You're just kind of taking them with you, and you have less support around you. Another reason why people leave their job is because of the people. Maybe you don't like the people that you're working with, or some of the people that you're working with, and it's causing you a lot of stress. First of all, keep in mind, have you spoken to your own HR department or your manager to try and kind of correct the situation? But also keep in mind that if you become a 100% handmaking entrepreneur, that you lose the aspect of having people around you. So some of the people that you do like won't be around you to support you anymore. Another reason why people commonly leave their day job is because they don't like the hours. But if you really look into it, you'll find that many entrepreneurs work well more hours than they did when they were in the corporate environment. For example, for myself, I used to work 7.5 hours a day, 5 days a week. But once I became an entrepreneur, sometimes I would have to stop myself from working 7 days a week. But keep in mind that the hours may not necessarily get better, especially when you're starting up your business. Another reason people sometimes want to switch to entrepreneurship is because they want to focus on the creative aspects of their handmaking business. But if you're leaving your position because you don't like admin work, well, let me tell you that once you become an entrepreneur, at least for the very early years, you are doing a lot of your own administration, your emails, your writing, your pitching, all of that will be just you for a little bit of time. So if you don't like doing your own administration and doing desk work, well, that still comes along with the job for a while. So keep in mind that you will be responsible for that all on your own, or at least until you can hire someone to give you a hand. Now, entrepreneurship is a hard journey, but it can be extremely rewarding to work for yourself. I do have a video on going from hobby to hustle, and you can watch that over here. So be sure to check out that video. Now, the third mistake that you don't want to make, and this might not apply to everybody if you don't have a spouse or partner, but you definitely want to make sure that your spouse or your partner is in agreement with you switching careers or switching occupations to entrepreneurship. And this shouldn't be mistaken for them liking what you're making. They can support you and not necessarily like what you make, right? I get emails from people who complain that their spouse isn't so supportive. There's a difference between support and them being in agreement. Maybe they're in support of you running a business, but maybe they don't necessarily like what you're making because maybe you make baby goods, or maybe they can't see the end result of you selling knits as your occupation. So don't necessarily expect that they completely understand the process of what it is that you're going to be doing, but at least that they are in agreement that you are going to become an entrepreneur and sell the things that you make. Because if you're in a household that relies on more than one income, whether or not your partner likes what you make or not, you just want to be sure that they're in agreement and that you have a course of action to pursue your business as your main source of income for you. Now, if it's okay with them, then prepare them for the idea that occasionally, as your business dips and peaks, that there may be months that are a little bit leaner than other months, and there is a possibility that you might have to rely on their income more than yours on certain months. But also remind them that there might be months where you might be in great excess and you guys can probably enjoy some things extra, like vacations or dinners out or whatever it is that you like for leisure, or extra savings in your own bank accounts. If you've cleared the previous 3 points I've mentioned, then great, you might be ready to take the leap. Another option is, if you're not sure that you have that good financial buffer, never be embarrassed to take side gigs or side work while you're building your crochet business. But take an occupation or take a job that'll give you the option and the freedom to have flexible hours so you can work on your business. Typically for crochet knit, sales tend to be slower in the summer if you don't make a summer line. And I decided not to make a summer line because I really liked focusing on developing my product line for the fall and winter. And I had taken side gigs during slower months. So what I would do is I would take jobs that relate to the industry that I was in, or I would take jobs that would keep my current business knowledge current, like in human resources, retail, or consulting. For example, I have a friend who's a handbag designer, and her side gig is doing pattern designs for other designers, or work as a procurement officer or supply chain buyer for other companies. So keep in mind staying in a related industry and be prepared for things like enjoying making new friendships and making new connections. My fifth mistake that I'd like to mention is burning bridges when you part ways. You may be leaving a job, or maybe you were let go of a job that it was no fault of your own, or you were laid off. Everywhere I worked, though, I made sure that before I submitted my resignation or before my last day, I was always committed to being there 100% and not checking out on them and doing a bad job before I leave. What you want to do is If you're resigning, make sure that your resignation letter is gracious. Never burn bridges because you may need testimonials later or references to land other contract positions or jobs, or even connections to build retail relationships to get your products in stores. And you can always draw on all of those resources to help and coach others as well. So friends, if you think you are ready to make that leap and exploring your handmade business readiness, well, I do have a new workshop that's coming up, and you won't want to miss this because it covers the key fundamentals of nailing your niche in your business. So if you're stuck or just need some concept validation or just want to know what you need to know before you make it the big leap, or if you've already started your business and you'd like to sharpen your skills, you won't want to miss this. The link is below, and I hope to bring you more content that helps you move forward and build the handmade business that you love. Now, if you like this video and some of the content I'd covered today, please drop me a comment below. Let me know what helped you and give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss future content to help you out. And if you have any questions, even better, leave your message below and let me know what your questions are. And as always, you are always welcome to book a strategy call with me for free to see if you're on the right track or maybe know what next steps that you need to make to build a successful business. In the meantime, friends, I'll see you in the next video. And until then, have a safe, healthy, and happy hand-making life. Bye-bye.